Welcome back, people of YouTube. I am back for yet another review, so stick around till the end and call upon the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. I am Saver Planet Gaming, and this is Darksiders 3. Don't go away. So, Darksiders 3, made by Gunfire Games, is a hack-and-slash sequel to the successful Darksiders 1 and 2. And what you see in the background is my own gameplay. It took me roughly 16 hours to complete. Moving away from the analytical side of things to the gameplay aspects of things, one thing I'd have to say is if you've played Darksiders 1 or 2 and you're looking forward to Darksiders 3, and you're thinking, you know, it might be similar, you might be in for a bit of surprise in the combat area. But for the most part, I want to say it is a welcome surprise. Fury, who is the main playable character in Darksiders 3, gets 5 main weapons to play with the first almost like an Indiana Jones whip, but eventually you get equipped with 4 more all-unique weapons with their own traits. Now, I wasn't a fan of this when I was about starting the game. You know, I like the old loot system in Darksiders 3, but about 3/4 way into the game, I started to really enjoy playing with these dynamics. As far as Fury goes for main characters, she's pretty good. And I mean, it's also almost impossible to follow Michael Wincott's performance of Death in Darksiders 2. I mean, he was unbelievable. But for the most part, I actually believe that Fury holds up as a pretty good main character. My biggest fear while playing the game was that Fury would be this one-sided character that just wants to fight everything. But, you know, eventually Fury started to grow on me, and, you know, in the end, I feel like she became a pretty good character to the Darksiders universe. Now, the story for Darksiders 3 is a pretty decent one, on paper at least. Fury is tasked with the tracking down of 7 deadly sins and having to kill them. But the story is a bit confusing on how it flows. At times, I wasn't really sure what was happening, but that's pretty minor. Something that was also kind of minor but could have definitely had an upgrade is, well, the upgrade system, a very bland and basic one to Darksiders 3. I mean, you can upgrade your weapons that are available, you can upgrade the little relics, but you can slot them into your weapons, but the problem is you only get a handful of relics, like 4 or 5 throughout the game, so it's not really that great. Here we are, gameplay 82 out of 100, pros, fun combat, decent story. Fury holds as a good character, pretty surprisingly, at least to me at least. Cons, bland upgrade system. That's pretty much all the worst of the cons I could find for gameplay at least, but we still have 2 more categories to jump into, so let's go right into the game's presentation. Darksiders 3 presentation. Something I have to point out literally 5 seconds in. I want to say this right now. Where's the map? There's no map in Darksiders 3. Darksiders 3 is what I would describe as half open world and half linear, and when you have to explore to find 7 deadly sins in the world, it would be really nice to have any sort of map. Just anything. Countless times I found myself lost, so be wary, Horsemen of YouTube. If you wish to play this game, keep a Darksiders 3 guide tab open when trekking through the story. As far as Darksiders 3 goes for presentation, the worst of it is pretty much having no map. There are some minor things, like when you're, like, it's a post-apocalyptic one with the 4 Horsemen and all this special stuff. A lot of the levels in Darksiders 3 focuses around old human architecture, like old buildings, old cars, and I don't really want to see that in a Darksiders game. It was a bit bland and boring, if you ask me. It was only like, it's not like the entire game here, but it's a good couple levels. As far as the good goes in Darksiders 3 presentation, I feel the small things they got were spot on. Little sound effects, small details in the map, just little things. It was really nice to see, especially Fury's hair changing to correspond with the current weapon at hand, whether it be with the Malice, it would be purple, or the Ice Sword, I called it, which would be blue. You know, it's really nice. And another little bonus thing in presentation I like is the music in this game isn't above average, but there are a couple soundtracks that are just really good. One I'd like to point out really quickly before we go into the next category is the Maker's theme. Take a listen.
Interesting. All right. Let's see what I can do for you. Interesting. Aiming to lay down a mighty hurt, are we?
Here we are, presentation solid 62 out of 100. Pros, great color to the game, I gotta admit that, and a couple great soundtracks. Game cons, no map. There is literally no map in this game, and it really hinders to the point where it gets you caught up and lost in some areas. But that's it for presentation for cons and pros. So let's move on to the last category for Darksiders 3, overall impact. Let's go.
Put up more of a fight than you!
Let them stand or fall. It matters not to me. You understand, don't you, Horsemen? The futility of it.
Darksiders 3. I don't know what to do with it. I am so confused on my feelings towards Darksiders 3. I made a chart to demonstrate how much fun I was having throughout this game. The lows are so low in this game, getting looped on a boss fight because you don't have enough items, and the damn loading screen feels like I could count to 100 faster. I mean, the loading screen is unbelievable. Getting lost in the world because there's literally no map. To the highest of highs, when you're just having fun, you're going on a smooth pace, you're not getting stuck in any places, you don't have to look up the guide to see where you have to go next, and the ending to this game was just like the straight up shot. That was such a good, and one of the better endings in a game I've seen to this. To me, this game is so up and down. It's hard to say because sometimes there isn't a lot of music, and sometimes you're just chilling at the Maker's Hut and the music is amazing. I mean, my original intention was to give it 50 out of 50 on overall impact, but the ending to this game was so good. There's no way I could give it only 50, but there's only one true way to rate this, in my opinion, is to wait. Because in 6 months, when I look back on Darksiders and remember that I played through it, will I remember the good or will I remember the bad? Here we are, overall impact 65 out of 100. It's higher than the 50 I was originally going to give it. Pros, very high highs and a great, I cannot get over how great that ending was, guys. I'm telling you now, amazing ending. Cons, very low lows, and I still don't know why there isn't a map. I don't know. Anyways, you boil all my numbers down and you get a solid 6.9 out of 10 for Darksiders 3. Coming into Darksiders 3, I was originally thinking, you know what? Darksiders 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. It's going to be really hard to replicate that game. And of course, it turned out it wasn't as good as Darksiders 2 in my opinion. Of course, others might think it was the best in the entire series. But that's all for this review. The Darksiders series have now featured 3 out of 4 Horsemen, which means but one thing. 1 Horseman left for Darksiders 4, and maybe a Darksiders 5 with all 4. Who knows? Only time will tell. I'm your host, Slaver Planet Gaming, and I hope you enjoyed this review. Peace.
You're talking about art. Now, here.
It's a museum. Well, certainly we have our mission. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Some people have no appreciation for the finer things in life.
Avarice.
Fury. Welcome to my Hall of Treasure.
Thanks for sticking around till the end. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff if you want. Also, Patreon links in the description if you want to support the channel. 50% of the proceeds go directly to charities for the environment. Really good cause. Support my channel. I'll appreciate it. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.